We're having a technical issue over at our pen. Let's see here.
We are live on YouTube and LinkedIn.
We are live over at Reddit as well. Would you like to start the introductions off today, sir?
Yes. Good afternoon, Jake, and everyone out on the internet. My name is Kyle. This is Jake, and we are the Founders Way. This is season one, episode 15. And every day that we do this, we talk about topics of entrepreneurship, running a business. Jake, how are you doing?
Doing fantastic, Kyle, and it's great to see you. Kyle and I are interested to reach out to people in the. We are on LinkedIn as well as YouTube, but in the subreddits such as our entrepreneurship, our co-founder, our fintech, and people that might like to discuss startups, businesses, and fintech. And we're hoping to connect with some audiences in that space. Kyle, how's your week been? What's been going down in your world?
Well, it's Memorial Day weekend, so I took a little bit of time off and went out to the piney woods in East Texas on the motorcycle. Now I'm getting back and just putting out fires, trying to keep everybody corralled and headed in the right direction. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. How
I
about
had a
you?
had a motorcycle years ago when I was out in California.
Yeah,
Uh, I've been pining to get back on a bike recently.
it's pretty nice. I got this route that goes all the way through. I don't know if you've ever been to East Texas or not, but it's very tall, old growth pine trees, going on for, I got a route that you're in a pine tree tunnel for about 100 miles. It's pretty nice.
That sounds amazing. How is the
Yeah.
motorcycle riding out there? Because I imagine you must have good highways and a lot of open space. But are there any nice kind of twisty turns, or is it mostly flat?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
especially in Central Texas. There's a lot of folks that they will bring in bikes on a trailer from other parts of the country and start rides right here in Austin and then go out to the hill country. It's very hilly and twisty, lots of open space, hundreds, thousands of miles of really good motorcycling. So, yeah, it's kind of a paradise for motorcycle riding, actually.
I might have to look into renting a motorcycle down there.
It's pretty nice. It is pretty nice.
Seems pretty
So
sweet.
how'd
Well,
you
that's a
what you been
wonderful,
up to?
wonderful way to spend the weekend, sir.
It was a very nice way. I was on Lake Sam Rayburn in a little fishing cabin, just kind of kicking back and cooling my heels.
Um, Maybe we should do a podcast session just on motorcycles someday.
I'm all totally okay with that.
Totally make that work. You probably have some great videos and pictures you could share with us as well. But our main goal for those watching was to really talk about business, and we would love to
Yep.
get any questions for the audience or thoughts on starting or growing a business. I have a little bit of a wheelhouse around fintech and automated technologies, and our friend Kyle here focuses a little bit more on franchises.
It's my
And
jam.
Kyle, I was speaking to a very interesting founder this morning, and she has been working for 10 years to aggregate all kinds of data, and she's created filters for it. Um,
Oh,
and
yeah.
she's trying to explore different markets that she can bring it out to. But there's some interesting use cases for like um, real estate, but in particularly like for corporations that wanted to bring a head office. I've talked about her with you before. They could, how she was filtering it today was if you were looking for a region in America that had more people graduating with like a space technology degree, but you also, so you wanted to be close to people that were graduating with this particular degree, but you also wanted to find the space that had the lowest taxes. They could
Hmm.
they could kind of dial in that kind of information on their website to help you choose the best location for your new office or head office, as it were.
Interesting. Um, Data broker, huh?
She has this gold mine of data, but doesn't know exactly the best ways to glean information from it to resell. And in some cases, she has government organizations that come to her with data that she filters and examines, and then resells the information back to them, even though it's their own data. And their point is that people hate data, right? Like people don't want their data back. Like you can clean people's data, chop it up different ways. People don't want data. They want information. They want you to come to them with numbers and to tell them like
Yes.
this is what you're looking for. Um, and so that
Yeah.
is an interesting opportunity that she's brought together.
That's a fun space. years ago. Actually, my very first business was taking demographic data and using it to figure out how to engage voters to vote in a particular election. Um, and it was kind of at the forefront of that technology. It's 20 years ago, but you're right that the folks, especially in the political world, they don't want to deal with data. They just want to like, which door should I knock on? Or what should I tell them? They want something that's actionable. So we would develop basically strategies to help them execute on a ground game to go out and do door knocking in neighborhoods prior to election to, inform voters of issues and things like that.
And how do you counsel people in the franchise space then? Someone wants to open a business, but there must be a big question as to where, right? Like, is it a good location?
Yeah, a lot of data is used in franchising, mostly at the franchisor level, to figure out what the demographics of a particular market look like. And so a franchisor will basically look entirely at the whole country and then find markets where they're looking for a demographic. They need X tens of thousands of people in households above a certain income level with a certain density, right? Um, and they will create territories for owners that have a certain amount of those customers that are in contiguous zip codes that will allow them to build a really good business. So that's kind of the fun thing about franchising is that the demographic analysis and the customer analysis has already been done for you.
So
And
they've
that's
already
part
they've already tabled a lot of that before it comes to the franchisee. So the franchisee still has some decisions to make, but there are kind of informed decisions at that level at that point.
absolutely. There's plenty of decisions to make, as a business owner of a franchise, but some of the things that you don't have to do are the big upfront questions that kind of revolve around the business plan itself and the model and how it works. So, how do you reach them? Who are they? Where do they live? How much are they going to pay? How often will they buy? Those questions are by and large answered when you're getting into a franchise, which is super convenient.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you what was important to you, but you just listed them. You just rambled them all off.
That's what's important.
Yeah.
But that then what I do is, I basically I find people that want to run a business. Like I had a customer in a zip code area that I don't typically work with, and is not very heavily populated with franchise owners. So that we had a kind of a fun time because there was things that we could pick out there that had really great demographics, but people just don't run businesses out there. So they had kind of the pick of the litter in terms of businesses to choose from for their research portfolio. So I help make that market. Um, and I guess that's the thing I do like about franchising is that the customer questions are answered.
Yeah.
And and as if you don't have your customer pretty well nailed, you're going to have a hard time in business, any business. I think about what you just said about your acquaintance that's got all this information, still trying to figure out what to do with it. It's like, well, who's the customer? Who wants all this stuff, right? It's a really hard
Yeah.
question to.
Well, she has a gold mine worth of business, and she's just scratching into using machine learning and AI to try to identify opportunities. And so, I've connected her with some data scientists, and we're going to take a crack at that. I'm actually working with a company that provides they provide housing to insurance companies, and we're
Okay.
trying to work on a system that will go out to the internet and kind of scrape information about landlords and apartments that are on offer in certain regions to try to make that part of the process a little bit easier. Someone still has to pick up the phone and call those people and find out more information about what's on offer and why and the size of the homes. But we're working on automating that to see if we can bring a benefit to a pain point in the business in insurance.
Okay. Is this like apartment locating? Is that what we're trying to do?
Yeah,
Hmm,
what's available in a certain location per size, and then they try to kind of make a better deal if they can.
I see. Interesting.
Yeah,
Well, that's a business that's been around for quite a while. Sounds like that could be disruptive in a good way for some folks.
I guess if we automate it right and I think, the thing with data is that it gets more powerful with time. So the more times you use it and the more times you have success or get some kind of feedback, the better it gets.
Yeah, up to a point. What I found when I was doing demographic analysis with large chunks of data, I'm talking about the entire voting populace of Texas, which is huge. Um, it also gets out of date, right? It ages like cheese in a way. It gets better for a little while with time, and then it starts to grow mold, and you have to refresh it,
Yeah.
and significant amount of work.
I've not heard that before, but that's that's a phenomenal that's a phenomenal paradigm. And so in our world, we have a potential interested an investor interested to provide us with some what I would consider to be bridge lending. We haven't gotten the offer yet. We are engaging with angel investors, and we're trying to raise several $100,000 for our business so we can push it forward and get it up to the next level. And this person's come with an idea to say, well, what if I just invest enough to help you get a few things over the line? And then you should be very investable for that space in kind of like the coming months. And so that is a welcome strategy if we can pull it all off.
Hmm. Well, let's see. Bridge lending. Uh, and what are you bridging between?
So instead of coming in with a full investment offer, which would typically, which for angels would mean there's a group of people that want to invest 200,000 to 300,000 in your business, but they're all only cutting 10 to 15 to 20,000 at max checks, right? There's 10 guys that are
Okay.
all retired that are interested to stay connected to modern things and modern businesses and to give back and help people, but they can
Yeah.
minimize their risk by investing in a lot of businesses by only investing a chunk. And together they also collaborate on the due diligence of the businesses. So they all bring something to the table. They've got a legal guy, they've got a numbers guy, they've got people that know different spaces, and they can all put their heads together as they go for these investments. The bridge lending is kind of a new concept to me, where they would have a slightly different structure. Instead of a convertible note, it would be probably a high return interest loan for part of it and an equity loan for part of it, based
Okay.
on like a revenue share. But it would get us the funding we need to kind of power the business at this point to move things forward a little bit quicker, to make us then more investable and more attractive to the investors in the next round. And that actually wasn't what I was looking for, but it makes a lot of sense for the stage that we are at as a fintech and what we're trying to do next.
So the lender could convert into equity at some point. Is that what I'm hearing?
It would be a combined offering, so it would be like a debt interest offering and with a
Hmm.
combination of some kind of equity play.
Yeah.
Would then lighten the load. But I imagine the equity is going to be quite painful. But because of the stage we're at with the business and where we're trying to get next, that would give us, a nice lift at the right time. And
Yeah.
so people talk about investors taking risk in a business. There's also risk for us, and we haven't seen the offer yet, so we've got to get it. We've got to, review it, see if it makes sense. Could be painful. I've got to decide: do I want the pain of scraping by and grinding for 4 or 5 more months, or do I want a lift in the business at a painful kind of cost of the business, at giving away more of a piece than maybe I want to at this stage. So there's a
So
balance.
how would that uh, giving away more of a piece of the business, would it be more than if you just did a straight equity fundraise with this debt?
For early stage startup companies like mine and fintech companies, you're typically not going to find people that want to make a straight equity play. Most of them are looking for this convertible note that lets them kind of hedge between you having the responsibility to pay them back between 2 or 3 years, or at the end of it, if your company's heading in the right direction, then of course they're going to want to take that and convert it into an equity play.
Yeah.
So
So they can sort of wait and see, invest the money, wait and see if they just want to extract the loan payment back from you or convert it into equity because you did really well.
And so that's a convertible note, and so they would have the choice at the end of that period, and they get to convert it at like a preferred rate, right? They get like a 20% discount on your next round.
Hmm.
Um, so it's an interesting game, but this would be something at a slight stage before that, that I'm not sure if it will be offered as a convertible note, but it would be some kind of debt equity play that is more, almost more of a bespoke offering than what you would typically see.
Where did you find this this group?
Kyle, I pitch everyone. We've had this conversation before, right? Like sometimes we pass through like
Yeah.
McDonald's, or
Yeah, I'm
you've
pretty
gone on the
amazed at,
subway,
like,
and someone gives you like really good service, and you you start eyeing them up and be like, "Gee, I wonder if they're really good. I wonder if they'd like to get out of this job and come learn about fintech." And I met some young kids on Reddit that reacted to a post on 1099 salespeople, and I think one of them, there were two or three of them, and one of them seems pretty serious about trying to get like learn sales and get involved in some 1099 commissions. And I genuinely believe it could be a good opportunity for them. And I'm happy to be a mentor and facilitate, but ultimately someone's got to go out and pick up the phones and do the sales work. Um,
yep.
but yeah, I see really good quality people in the fast food environment and wonder, God, I wonder if they'd like to get out of this and go try something new.
Yeah. So you think you're gonna bring somebody on, or is that the idea?
Um, I would love to bring people on, but I think we were speaking more figuratively, um, about opportunities and what the investment could bring to us at this stage. We have worked really hard to bring all this technology together, and we're stuck trying to get it all connected in a good way. And it's been a
Mm,
little bit harder than what I was expecting. So having a little bit of cash in at this stage, even though it would give up a little bit more of the business than I would like, it would allow me just to power through that. Instead of dragging on for 2 or 3 months trying to get some things slowly connected, we could get it over the line, get it connected, also have the money to polish it up, and a little bit of money to pay some salespeople, yeah, to
okay.
really push something out there. So that could make it get pretty interesting, I guess.
So the engineering team is really what you would like to fund primarily, and then the sales team, uh, if there's
A little bit of power behind our dev team, and to be able to get some like real sales, like paid salespeople,
somebody with
um,
base commission.
to help push this thing out there, that would be amazing, man. I'd be very excited about that opportunity.
Yeah, that is exciting. Well, that's cool. I'm curious to see how it all plays out. It's with our episodic content, it's been partly just watching your business evolve, and that's kind of fun. I got to say, pretty exciting stuff.
Very cool, man. Thank you. And we're watching our friend's business come along as well. We're supporting her as she, gets into this machine learning. I'm just fascinated with machine learning and AI, and it seems like a lot of the companies that you work with are probably doing that kind of thing already to assess the best spaces in the country and in the state and in your region, to set up the franchise businesses. Um, but I don't know what gets you excited about a region to launch something like once you've once you've gotten the data from the franchisor, you must actually go out there and take a look before you tell people like what to go for.
Yeah, I like. Well, I mean, obviously, there's some demographics in the regions that I know, which is primarily Central Texas, that are just target-rich environments for customers of all types. And I like businesses that know their customers like that, and they're providing a service that people need regardless of economic circumstance. So, things like disaster recovery services, I get pretty excited about those. Those are high demand, high margin businesses, because when you have a mold, fire, or smoke problem, you have to get it fixed, and the insurance money is there, right? So businesses
You
like
know,
that
every
are pretty
every
cool.
time I go to my washer and dryer now, I think about your friend's business to clean out uh, the
Oh
dryer,
yeah, the
the
dryer
dryer,
vents.
the dryer
Yeah,
vents. I actually, because I really need that. I've got those like stacked up washers, and I'm afraid to do it myself because I'm afraid I'm just gonna mess up my washing machine or the wall. But I think it's been a while, and
yeah,
there must be some buildup in there. But
yeah. There probably is.
that's
Yeah,
just such a great business idea, man. Just what a great niche.
yeah. That one is pretty cool. And it was on the verge of presenting that to a client yesterday, and then I found out that it was all taken up in Austin, so I couldn't
Oh,
do it.
really? So they've got a good
Yeah,
perception. I think um I think that is a good topic for another day actually to talk about why niches are important. I think that's the big lesson that I probably learned more late
yeah,
in life, these last couple of years, that identifying a niche and going after a niche can really give businesses opportunity.
yeah. Those are interesting niches, and yet it's while we'll pick on the dryer vent thing, that it may be a niche business where it does a very specific thing or a niche service, but their customers are not, right? It's a very specific thing that everybody needs. So it's not a niche customer at all. Um, you can have a niche service or a niche customer base, right?
Right.
But that was general public business that does one specific thing really well. But yeah, niches, I think that's a great topic for another time, maybe the next time.
How's your side business going? You had an idea at one point that you were thinking about. Have you guys been progressing that in any way, shape, or form?
Oh, that was another guy's idea that I was involved in. We haven't spoken in about a week or so, and it's my own fault. I've been really busy in my main business, my main gig. But yes, that reminds me. The side gig is well, side for me, but it's the main gig for the other guy. I need to check in on him and see how he's doing.
Still alive? Still out there?
Still out there. Yeah,
So, audience members, we're getting to the top of our half hour. We're continuing to do our half hour sessions every week at about the same time on Wednesday afternoons. Any questions or interest in business that anyone would want to discuss, please hit us up in the chat. We also appreciate any upvotes that you'd be so kind to share with us, as we are still exploring and learning and figuring out our podcast and figuring out the best ways to connect people out into the space to business entrepreneurship.
excellent.
I had a
Well,
lot of
yeah,
questions. Had a lot of questions last week and the week before. Not so many today. But any parting thoughts, Kyle? What's on your mind today?
well, I really appreciate you sharing some of the creative ways in which you're exploring raising money for your own business. Someday I hope to look back and say, hey, that guy that built that gigantic company, yeah, we used to do videos together. When you're famous, I'll be like, I remember when you're just getting that thing off the ground. That's where I hope we will both be at some point.
The podcast is coming with us. The
Yes.
podcast is part of the mission. Uh,
Yes.
all right, sir. Well, I am going to have to run, but Kyle, always a pleasure to speak to you. I'm having a blast talking about business, and I
Me
look
too.
forward to seeing you next week, where we will have a new topic and a new story to discuss.
You got it. We'll talk about niches.
We're going to talk about niches next week. Thank you, everyone, for watching. We appreciate your time, and we'll speak to you soon.
Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.